welcome back to the BookFest Club. I'm your co-host Jay, along with my co-host Key, and today we have another thriller book.
Yes.
This is, I believe, his first novel, if I'm not mistaken. This is his first novel. This is, to me, it was. I'll give my opinions later on. But when I first, because I listened to it before. And I had to go re-listen to it again, and it was just as good as the first time. This is Jason Rekulak's Hitting Pictures. First off, before we get into that, like we do every week, Key, how was your week thus far? What's going on? Anything
My
new?
week thus far has been amazing. I'm trying to think anything new. I don't think anything new, but I am going to an art gallery today. I read this book. I know it's called The Idea of You by Robin Lee. If you guys didn't know, March is Women's History Month, so I have been trying to prioritize.
Shout out to all the women.
As all the women, I have been trying to prioritize women authors, especially our Black women. Robin Lee not only is an actress, she's in Hits, she's in 50 Shades. She's my favorite sister from Deliver Us from Eva. She's a Columbia grad student. Like, she's honestly amazing, and she writes books. So anyway, I read this book of hers, The Idea of You, and the main character owns an art gallery, and it got me interested in going to an art show. So that's all I got going on for the weekend, but my week was amazing. How about you, Jay?
Well, my week was good, man. Out of work
You sound
right
like
now.
you're sick. Are you sick?
Nah,
Okay.
not at all. Not at all. Allergies, but that's about it. Got hurt at work. That's about it. Just got hurt at work, so I'm out of work for now. And, felt good to have a week off from work. No stress, no issues, none of that stuff. So I was just locked in reading, man. Read a couple books this week. I was like, what? So when you work from home, you can really get a lot done. Even though I'm not working, it just felt like I was working from home. You can get a lot of stuff done. So I got a couple books done, including this thriller, suspense / horror. But let's not keep the people waiting, man. Y'all know we do our thriller rubric. Well, we got a rubric for everything, but y'all know this is the thriller rubric, right? This is the thriller rubric right here. So in the beginning, a little detail, right, to Hidden Pictures, right? We open up as the book follows Mallory Quinn, a young woman in recovery. She has a drug addiction, and she's trying to get back onto her feet. So she's leaving rehab, right? And through her sponsor, she gets an opportunity to become a nanny, right? Or the opportunity to get a job as a nanny for a wealthy family, right, in the New Jersey suburban area, where she would be responsible for taking care of their 5-year-old son, Teddy.
Not you do.
Son, Teddy Maxwell. Have you read? Listen,
we'll expand on that later.
This is a what do they call it? This is a spoiler podcast. So take care of their son, Mr. and Mrs. Teddy Maxwell. At first everything seems regular, seems perfect. You know what I mean? Parents, Teddy's not really fond of what's her name?
Mallory, because
she's not really fond of Mallory in the beginning.
Doing drugs, watching their child.
Yeah, watching their child. And Caroline is like, nah, we can get her, and he just think about it as the father is really, suspect, even though we find out later on he trying to, what I'm saying?
Clap them cheeks. That's what my co-host say.
Cheeks, you know what I mean? So, everything seemed perfect. This kid, he loves to draw though, right? And in his artistic form of drawing, things are happening around the house, on the compound. And it takes you through a thrilling ride. You got Misty, the crazy
woman across
Adrian,
the street.
You know what I'm saying? You got cops and everything involved. So this was one of those ones, man. But in our first point in our rubric, right, we are going with the plot, right?
Yes.
For the hook. You know what? No. Ew, why you got me on the wrong? I was on the wrong rubric. I was.
Look, you try to blame me.
Look,
it's your rubric,
I
Jay.
got too many. Look, I had too many rubrics. They're gonna have to deal with me today, so it don't even matter. Like,
you gonna say you had me? I'm like, this is your rubric, Jay. You sent it to me,
right? But in the first, okay, here we go. The first part, did it grab you immediately? Were you invested early? And did it take long to build the story?
Grabbed immediately. And let me tell you why. The book starts off with Mallory crushing a pill in her hand. Or she sucks on a pill and then she spits it out, crushes it in her hand, then snorts it. So that is how we are introduced to the character. That is Mallory. And Mallory is the one that's babysitting little Teddy who's got these demonic drawings. But yes, the book absolutely captured me from the beginning. And it was interesting. You know, the book starts with her snorting this pill and she needs money. So she goes to this study where they need women volunteers. And the study is basically they have to go into this room, they're blindfolded, and 5 men are sitting in front of them. And they have to raise their hand when they feel like the men are looking at them. So the men start like this. The women are blindfolded and they have to raise their hand when they feel like the men are looking at them, which is a very interesting experiment. And even while she's high, Mallory had a 97% success rate, which means she always could tell when somebody was looking at her, when someone had their eye on her, which is very important.
Very,
because
very
later
important.
in the book, she knows something's going on and she knows somebody's been watching her and looking at her. And that just shows from the very beginning of the book. So it absolutely grabbed me because I ain't never seen a woman like suck on a pill to get the plastic off, crush it out, and then snort it right there. I was like, wow. I was like, this girl is crazy.
I was definitely invested early. I felt like, you know, you knew something was going to happen, right? You have a former junkie who used to be an All-American track star. You know, was it track, right?
She was the 6th fastest girl in Philadelphia. She was,
So a promising future goes down on one night. You know, we're gonna find out what happens on this fateful night that lands her into, you know, her slump, her depression, her addiction, and everything like that.
Jay, let me pause you. Can you see your camera? Are you blurry in your camera? Okay, am I blurry?
Nah, not no more. You good?
Okay. I just want to make sure. Okay.
Nah, you
go ahead,
good,
sorry.
you good. Listen, they're gonna have to deal with it. We recording as we go. But I didn't feel like it took long to build. It already hooked you in suspense mode. Once
it did.
hooked in on suspense, that's the catching right there. That's the thriller moment that you know you got me. If I feel like I'm reading the book in the beginning stages and it doesn't catch me in the suspense mode where I'm like, oh wow, this is juicy. I can't wait to see, you know what I mean, what happens then.
Absolutely.
Then I have to DNF the book. And this is not what happened in this book. It just was straight through. It was just super, super suspenseful, and it grabbed you and made you want to understand, well, what can happen with this family? You know, what does Mallory have in her past? You know, what's going on with everybody? You know, something's going to happen. And once that draws you in and it's like setting the plot, which we're getting into next, the plot twist, whether twist shocking or predictable, did the plot stay tight, and were red herrings smart? Like basically, like, did you see any red flags? Did you notice anything out of ordinary, whether it was Teddy's pictures? But before we get into Teddy and his little crazy ass, let's answer the question first for the people.
Yes, this is what I will say. And I was talking to Jay about this before we even press record. We always do a little like, what did you think? I felt like this book was a bit predictable from the very beginning. And this is why I say this. Mallory is she's a recovering drug addict, okay? And her sponsor gets her this interview with this family, the Maxwells. And they are like Caroline, because she works with veterans who also have some of the same issues, like drug dependency issues. She's trying to give Mallory a chance. And this is the thing. You, of course, give recovering addicts a chance, just like people give people who get out of jail a chance to get employment. I feel like everybody deserves a chance. But would I be the parent who's fighting my husband to hire the recovering drug addict to watch my son? No. I mean, and so from the very beginning, it was just the fact that Caroline was so like, no, we want Mallory. And I just didn't understand. You have a stack full of resumes of women who have never had a history of doing drugs, who probably have more experience than her. Why are you fighting for the drug addict? And I can't, like, I don't even have kids, but I'm thinking, you tell me you're a recovering drug addict. Like, yeah, thank you for coming, but no. It's like that scene off of Big Mama's House. Have you seen Big Mama's House 2?
It's been a long time.
There's this scene when Big Mama is trying to get in to be the nanny to this really rich white family, and she pulls up the vein of one of the girls, and she has vein marks indicating that she does drugs. That girl is quickly dismissed. Like, so in my head, I'm thinking there has to be a reason why Caroline really, really wants Mallory, who is a recovering drug addict, to watch her child. So from the very beginning, I will say, you know, later we'll talk about the twists and how Caroline and Ted, the father, actually like had everything to do with the situation. I feel like that was predictable. I could see that coming. However, there are several other twists later that come that I honestly didn't see. And I feel like Jason did a really good job because I didn't see them coming, even if I didn't necessarily like how they played out. So I will say that the only thing that I saw was the parents is suspicious, but everything else came as an absolute surprise to me.
Yeah,
What
I
about
was
you?
stress reading this book. I wasn't casually reading this book, and that's one of our
Not
subplots.
stress reading.
I was stress reading the book because I was like, yo, what's happening? You know, you you go downstairs, all the drawers open, all the stuff open, and you got the pictures, you know, of him. And then in the book, it's the actual pictures, which was super dope. The illustrative, we don't, and I think that gets overlooked in this book. The fact that he took time to show us the illustrative book, and there it goes right there. If y'all looking at this on the Red app, you'll see that the illustration is there in the book. So, because I do have the book as well, but it's just like that brings that brings the story even tenfold to life because we're seeing this little boy. So it was just like I was stressed, like, yo, what's this? Who is this person? You know what I mean? Like, so it just set that precedent where I was just like, oh man, here we go. We go. He's setting it up. And this is something that I'm gonna talk to you later about with Jason Rekulak and his in the next one as well. Now, when we get into the characters, strong protagonist was simply Caroline and Teddy Sr., right?
Yep.
Hey, what did you think about Teddy and Caroline? As you know now, even from the beginning of the book to what you know now, what did you think about Caroline and Teddy?
Caroline was normal.
Exactly. I thought she was cool, because she was showing my, you know what I'm saying, mad love. So go ahead. I just know I wasn't tripping.
No.
She just had me.
I felt the same way. I feel like he wrote her character very, very deceiving because I always thought Ted was a little bit weird. Ted is the father, and he went from being. Okay, so when Mallory interviews for this job, Caroline is like, yeah, I really want you to come as a recovering drug addict to watch my son. And Ted is like, absolutely not. He does not like her. I don't want you watching my kids. Mallory even pulls out this thing. It's like a drug so they can test her on the spot. And she's like, if you have any worries, you can test me on the spot just to know that I'm not taking any drugs. He doesn't care. He's like, I don't care. I don't even want to deal with somebody that I would have to do that. The very next day after they hire her, he immediately is like, hey, and he's all friendly. I was like, I was just like, damn, what happened?
Where's the 360? The 360 is here already. Yeah.
Ted was a strange fucking man. I'm not gonna lie. Mallory gets home one night because she stays on their property in a guest building. Okay. She's babysitting Teddy.
She's in a cottage.
She's in the guest cottage.
She's in the guest cottage.
She's in the cottage. And
it ain't like the luxury of the luxuries.
It's nice. You know, Caroline says she fixed it up, but it's a really small guest cottage. She comes home. Why the fuck is Ted laying in her bed without his pants on?
Drunk.
And he's dug her bras out of her drawer and has them in the bed with him. And then he says stuff like, I would always take care of you. And I'm like, what the hell?
Smell it.
I was like, is he smelling her panties and bras? Yeah. So I would say that Caroline was written as normal. But I knew something had to be up again because Ted is fucking weird. Like, Mallory didn't give him any attention. She did not act that way towards him. She did not give him
She wasn't interested in him.
She was not interested in him.
And plus, she knew he was married to her boss.
Right.
So she ain't somebody who vouched for her. Yeah.
And she wasn't that type of girl. Plus, she had Adrian, the guy who was doing the flowers and shit. She didn't want nothing to do with Ted. So the fact that in the end of the book, he creates this relationship in his head, like, oh, I'm going to help you. And it's just, he was like, I've always known that you've wanted this. It was like, what the hell is your problem?
Meanwhile, you fake. You ain't got no money.
No money. It's faking Caroline's money.
You faking it. You know, like you some tech dude and you know
and he's not. He was weird. Caroline was written very normal. And like I said, the author got me
the
because
normal ones though.
Yeah, even though I knew something strange was going on, I didn't know how fucking psycho Caroline was. Okay. She was absolutely freaking nuts.
And what did you think about Teddy? What did you think about
little
Teddy?
Boy?
Yeah, the little Teddy Jr.
Teddy Jr. So
with
Teddy
his imaginary friend.
Teddy is the kid that Mallory is babysitting. And the thrill of this book is he has an imaginary friend named Anya.
Who's drawing these pictures in the book that y'all see in the illustration.
At first, she's telling Teddy to draw these images. Yeah. And he's like, hey, Mallory, my imaginary friend told me to give this to you. And I'm going to tell you something. I'm going to tell you this right fucking now. If I'm babysitting a child, and they say, hey, my imaginary friend, that's not black people shit.
Yeah.
And, hey, here's my imaginary friend told me to draw this demon picture of her sitting under the
like insane style. Like,
let me call your mom because I'm leaving.
out of here.
Someone that so Teddy, he was a sweet little boy, but he's got an imaginary friend who's telling him to Jay, we ain't there yet.
All right, yeah. We cool.
We in the most of the book we believe Teddy to be a little boy. Okay, so that's what I'm calling him for now.
Okay,
little boy.
Cool,
okay,
cool.
So Teddy is a cute, sweet little boy. He's very shy. He doesn't play well with others, but he got this imaginary friend named Anya who Mallory would go up to his door and she hears him talking like talking to this person. You know what I mean? She's like, what the hell? And then of course, Teddy is drawing pictures, you guys, and he's drawing alarming pictures. First, it's just Anya's in the room with them. Then it's a picture of Anya getting strangled. It's a picture of Anya getting buried. So the pictures that he's drawing are more and more alarming. And his parents are like, oh, you know, that's just his imagination. We've been reading him some scary bedtime stories.
Yep.
But of course, Mallory is like, something's up. This is
because
weird.
it's too
This is
realistic.
strange. This is crazy. So I liked little Teddy, even though I wouldn't have dealt with him. I would have been like, yeah, I'm about to drop your ass off to your mama because I don't play that shit. Like,
and then
I don't play demonic drawings, nothing.
The
Like,
drawings
no.
start to become realistic because they start to tell the tale of a murder.
Exactly.
So you're like, what is going on? And then he needs Anya to help him draw. He can't just draw these things regular.
Because Teddy has, and this is what was scary about this book, okay? Teddy draws like this. You know, you guys can see it. These are like elementary drawings. As the book goes further and further, the drawings that he does, and he tries to hide them, okay? Because he understands, okay, Ami and Daddy are telling me that Anya isn't real, so I have to stop drawing these pictures. But Anya actually possesses him, although we don't know that at first. And the drawings start getting even better, and they get more and more realistic. And so Teddy is 5. There's no way that he can draw these drawings that Mallory finds in the trash, and she finds pictures, these crazy murderous images like on her porch, and she's thinking there's no way that Teddy drew this. So is his imaginary friend drawing this? What story is she trying to tell? And that was really the central mystery of the book. Who is Anya, and what story is she trying to tell? Because she's speaking through Teddy. Why? And then she starts involving Mallory because she's leaving pictures for Mallory. And remember how I said Mallory has that sixth sense? She keeps seeing and feeling that somebody's watching her out in the cottage, and then she wakes up and there's pictures of murder scenes sitting on her porch. It was crazy. Teddy, though, in the end, I did feel bad for him, her. Let's just spill the beans, her, him.
Teddy is a transsexual. Well,
this is the thing. Teddy is not transgender. His parents
make him transgender
to hide the fact that they have kidnapped a young girl. And so they cut off her hair and they raised Teddy. And we'll get to, you know, what that means and the implications of that. But
yep.
So Teddy was weird the whole book. I really would have stayed away from that demon child. But then in the end, I really felt I felt bad because we understand that he was taken from his mom. He was forced to present as a gender that, you know, it wasn't comfortable for him because of Caroline and Teddy, because they were trying to get away with kidnapping a young girl. So they turned her into a young boy. So what did you think of Teddy? Did you think he was?
Well, I thought he was a little creepy.
Yeah, like, he was
Teddy
creepy.
Was just, I wasn't really feeling Teddy like that. I'm like, who is this little boy? Like, you gotta get him up out of here. Like, I wasn't a fan of Teddy. I knew something was happening with the drawings and him being possessed or whatever, but I just really wasn't a fan at all. Like, my favorite character, we're gonna get into the next one, was Misty. What did you think about Misty? The seance, the fortune teller, the weed, the high
Misty,
lady.
That's the thing about Misty. She low-key racist.
Drip. She had that drip, though.
The first time she encounters Mallory, it's after Mallory has first been introduced to Adrian, who is the love interest of this book. And let me say this, I don't think this book needed romance, but Mallory meets Adrian. He was so corny. He was super corny. I did not like him, and I was like, I didn't like Adrian. But anyway, Mitzi sees Mallory talking to Adrian, who is a Hispanic gardener, and she tells her, you know, you have to be careful. You know, he's illegal and he's going to rape you. So I automatically was like,
is crazy. She was Trump before Trump.
Right, like this is even before
calling him this is pre-Trump. Crazy.
Mitzi is an important character because she is some kind of tarot card reader, some kind of psychic or whatever. Yeah. And Mallory realizes that Anya is a spirit.
Yep.
She's not just an imaginary friend to Teddy, and she enlists Mitzi's help in contacting this spirit. And
she conjures her through her seance.
Yeah, and they do this seance. And what was crazy was when they did the seance, like the thing is moving on the Ouija board, but none of the letters make any sense. And we learn later the reason why they didn't make sense is because the person communicating to them did not speak English. So that's why these letters are just
all over the place.
All over the place. They're like, what the hell does this mean? And then Mitzi thinks that Mallory is faking it, so she gets mad and throws her ass out, like, get out, like, you've messed it up. Anyway, but I didn't like Misty because she was racist, but she was also on drugs.
She was getting high.
Yeah,
I mean, she was definitely getting high.
Mallory kept saying she smelled like burnt rubber, and I don't do drugs, so I don't know what that meant. I'm like, does that mean like crack, heroin?
Oh, no.
I don't know. She had like syringes, so I'm thinking heroin, but shit, I don't know. Listen, black don't crack unless you smoke it, and I don't smoke crack.
Crack is whack.
So crack is whack in my Whitney Houston voice. But yeah, Mitzi was on drugs. She was crazy, but I think that she was a necessary character. She added some comedic relief because a lot of stuff she did was just kind of out there and crazy. We needed her, and she was the key to understanding
have that bridge to get,
Yep.
you know, for the explanations, because she did explain to her the crossover, you know what I'm saying, how somebody can be in the house and, you know, what can happen. Here's a story. She's not really, she's a folk tale from the local community. You know, even when the cop come and he like, yo, we all know the story of Anya, you know, it's supposed to happen 40 years ago. They know the story of
Annie.
The story of Annie, who was supposed to be another
person who died in the
cottage, who's
where
supposed
Mallory
to be
is staying,
haunting them. So now you have two different perspectives of what's happening, you know what I'm saying, ghost wise, right? And that's just setting it up to be even more like thriller-ish.
Yeah, because we got two stories.
Yeah.
Now there's this person named Anya haunting Teddy, and she doesn't only haunt Teddy. Mallory ends up losing her job because she falls asleep, and Anya uses Mallory's body to draw all over the Maxwell's house everywhere. And they come home like, what the hell? And they find out that she fell asleep for 5 hours and left Teddy like, because she was knocked out. And it wasn't that she was knocked out. Anya had possessed her body. And so, but the Maxwells, well, they knew what was happening. But anyway, we'll get to that. But at the time, they're like, oh, we got to kick you out because you left our kid unsupervised anyway.
Yep.
So when Mallory understands that Anya is a spirit, she may be a ghost, she connects her to Annie, who died in that cottage where she's currently staying. And she's thinking, maybe it's Annie, and Annie's trying to tell us a message. Now, their names are different. So that was one thing I noticed. Anya was the person that Teddy was imaginary friend, and then there's Annie. But I love what the author did there here, because the entire book, we're thinking that these characters are the same. Because
same person, yeah.
Teddy's 5, you know, he could get Annie mixed up with Anya. That's possible. So the whole time, even though they have different names, y'all, I was thinking these are the same people. And the ghost is Annie, and she's trying to tell them like what really happened to her, and somebody, and because in the pictures that she's drawing, it's a man who's like dragging her away. We don't see who strangles her, but someone strangles her. Like, so we're thinking she's trying to tell and speak through Teddy and Mallory to tell them what actually happened to her like 30 years ago. And Annie is a folklore. Everybody in the whole town knows the story of Annie. Yeah. So I thought that was really, really interesting.
And what about well, we can go into writing and pacing. Was it fast paced or did it drag? Was it sharp dialogue? Was anything over explained? Because I felt like it wasn't over explained. We had to
I didn't think so either.
It was like bits and pieces of it was explained. As you get to the end of the book, everything becomes super clear, right?
Yeah.
At that point, we only got bits and pieces. And then unfortunately, Misty, they found her in the woods one night because she's dead. She's found in her gown in Mallory.
Like the forest, behind
like,
Mallory's
house. She would never leave. She was always dripped in gold. So her being in the nightgown, you know,
stepping outside her house like that, she would
never leave her crib. And she always had her gold on her, you know what I'm saying? And she always had her smoke with her. So it's like, and then you just find her in the woods just going like that. So I just thought that was like another intricate part of the book, which helped the pace for me.
And it
didn't drag, and it wasn't over explained like that. So what did you think?
I feel like there were some points that dragged just a little bit, Jay, but I think that's because, you know, Mallory is a very isolated person. She doesn't have a lot of friends. She's not on social media. She basically did the same thing every day. Wake up, go to the house, spend time with Teddy, go for a run, come back home. And although we had like, you know, things like pictures left on the doorstep and stuff like that, the thrill factor during certain parts wasn't really there, because although Anya is this spirit, she doesn't seem mean or malicious. She's not hurting them. She's not like knives are left out. We don't really know what she wants. And so those parts where Mallory was just doing her day-to-day routine dragged a little bit. I would have wanted but of course, when we find out who Anya is, it made sense how she was only kind of interacting with Teddy. But it was still like those parts dragged a little bit for me because I wanted more thrill, but she just kind of did the same thing every day. And it's just like random pictures were left and nothing was like there were no clues dropped for certain parts of the book. And I feel like near the end, kind of like what you said, they find Mitzi dead. And then Mallory sees Teddy in the shower and realizes that Teddy has a vagina, not a penis. Teddy is a young girl, you know? And then the story literally quickly went from there. But it
went
felt
left and
it
up and
literally
down,
like
and then we figure out,
zoom
all right, it's up, it's go
everything.
now. It's go now.
So
And
I
this is
definitely
where
think, he picked up the pace in the end a lot. And
going
I really
into
like that.
now going into where I feel like this book flourished, where it took off for me, was
Okay.
originality.
Okay.
Fresh concept. Never read
Yeah.
nothing like this in my
Mhm.
life. It
Mhm.
wasn't no overused tropes because we haven't heard this. We ain't seen this before.
I
have
haven't.
not read this before where it has a thriller / horror. This was my first thriller / horror, and I'm gonna compare it to something that's coming out later on this year. You know, Geneva Rose has a thriller. I sent that to you guys.
You
She
did.
has a thriller horror book coming out, which would have been my first one if had I not read this. So
Mhm.
I have never. I'm pretty sure it's out there. Don't get it twisted. You know, thriller people are like crazy a little bit, so they'll come back and be like, "Oh, it's 1,025 books." Relax. This is my first time doing it, right? So, and I've read a couple of thrillers before this, so I felt like it stood out to me in the thriller pace. And even if you go on any type of website, Goodreads, TikTok, Bookstagram, YouTube, whoever, like I've seen nothing but 4 stars from this book. And I'm like, okay, so I think it's passed the test of originality. What do you think?
I definitely think it did. The twist in the end when we find out that Caroline and Ted killed Teddy, whose real name is Flora, who was a young girl, kills her mother, kidnaps him, raises her as a him, brings him here. They even it made sense why they wanted to hire Mallory, because they felt like they knew that
To
Anya
get
was
over
around.
on her. Yep.
Anya
They
had been
knew.
followed.
That's the thing. They knew that she was there. And they had
knew.
us thinking that this girl was going crazy. And they knew she was. I don't. Nope, I'm not going to do it this Saturday morning.
JJJ, go ahead. I love it when you go on.
Nah, because they had her thinking like she was crazy. And it's
Why
like,
they
then
picked
they had me
her?
thinking we was crazy.
Because she's a drug addict. Because she's a drug addict. And so
y'all
they
knew
hired
y'all
somebody.
went over there, killed that lady, took her baby, brought them back to the States because she couldn't give no babies or have no babies. And then y'all changed the sex, and then y'all had her thinking it wasn't a ghost, making her look crazy. And I'm like, yo, this is
so Caroline and Teddy, they knew the entire time that Anya was around, because Anya, and they knew who Anya was, is Teddy's mother. And because they killed, no, I don't want to say they. And this is the thing, Caroline is actually nuts. The reason why she kills Margaret Majid,
Margaret. I think it was Margaret.
She's Hungarian is the point. Yeah. The reason why she kills Margaret is because she can't have kids, and she sees the mom painting in the field and not paying attention to her daughter, because her daughter is paying attention to an iPad, and she gets upset, and she just feels like you're a bad parent, and she gets mad.
Who are you to make that decision?
Hey, this is not your child. She stuns her, but Margaret has some kind of neurological condition where her stunning her with her taser actually like incapacitated her, and then Caroline strangled her to death. Teddy buried her. They took her child. So when you talk about originality, I've never read a book that had that kind of twist, and that's why I said the twist completely took me off guard, because I never would have thought. I thought maybe they killed the mom, but I'm like, Teddy is Flora. Teddy, the son, is actually the daughter. I thought that was crazy. That was a crazy ass twist. It really was.
What a plot twist, which comes down to the end of our review, the ending, right? Satisfying payoff, plot holes, did it stick the landing? To me, right? I felt like it was a satisfying payoff because Teddy Sr. gets what he deserves.
Yeah.
Right?
Caroline.
Yo, everybody got what they deserve. How they took a life, they took a baby, and it came back to bite them in the tail. And they die in the most horrific ways, which was so
Caroline
satisfying.
Gets stabbed in the neck by Teddy, who is possessed by Anya, and then Caroline kills her husband because she's like, "You really trying to creep with Mallory?"
Like, what are you doing, bro? Because we found out he tried to make a move on Mallory, right? Try to make a move on her in the cottage. He was trying to get to the yams. It just like it. Won't no plot holes, man. Like I felt like everything was secure. Like we got the ending we wanted. You know, I wasn't really feeling Adrian. Like he was so corny. Like I just think about it. I'll sleep on the floor. You're not tied to them anymore. You're fired. So technically, like, bro.
When he was like upset that she didn't tell him all about her history, which she shouldn't have lied. When Mallory meets Adrian, she tells him, "I'm a senior in college. I'm actually a runner in college. I'm on the track team." And he finds out that she's actually a recovering addict. He gets upset. But the thing about this is Adrian and Mallory barely know each other. They barely know each other. And he takes it upon himself to like confront her and drive her back to where she used to live to like confront her. It was just like, y'all talked like 3 times. Like, y'all don't even really know each other. I thought he was super corny. Him trying to kiss her and push all up on her was ridiculous. The end of the book ends with them still together. And I was just like, there's a point where Mallory is like, I never lied about my feelings for you. I'm like, bitch, what feelings did you have for this man? You don't even fucking know him. So that was one thing that I felt like I didn't think the romance was necessary.
Yo, absolutely not. Absolutely not. That was super pointless, man. And our final segment, right?
I just felt like, there was no need for the romance. So yeah.
In our final segment, right?
Okay.
Does this book have replay value? Will people still be recommending this book? I felt like I read this book 2 years ago, right? This is 2 years ago I read this book. To me, I feel like this book has replay value, right? Because there's a lot of things you can miss if you're not paying attention. And there was some things that I missed too that, I wasn't paying attention to. When I go back, I'm like, damn, I didn't really know. I remember it, but I really wasn't paying attention to it. So I feel like me reading it again, this is like, I don't think I've ever reread a book, like reread multiple books. It's like one of the second, maybe or third time I reread a book. So this, if I reread it, right, and I wanted to review it with you and I like it, I recommend this book. It's been 2 years now, almost 3 years, and I've recommended this book to you. I had people at my jobs reading this book, so for me, I've recommended this book to a lot of people. Did it move the genre forward? From the reviews, I feel like a lot of people. I think it's more positive. No, it is more positive. Even if you go on all of these platforms, this book is in the positive zone of thrillers, right? Where sometimes a lot of thrillers don't make it to that zone. So I feel like it moved the genre forward because now 2 years later, Geneva's dropping her book where it's where you bring in thriller and horror together, because that's what it says in the clip that I sent y'all, when thriller and horror kind of splits. Because you can't, to me, thriller and horror is two different tropes, two different categories, right? But when you blend them together, this was the first time that I had read a thriller that blended horror, true horror, where it was paranormal activity going on, and thriller into one. And I felt like he did a fantastic job. And in a couple of minutes after you give your final segment, we're gonna do our bookmark system go. But what did you think?
Like I said, I really, really enjoyed the book, but the ending didn't come together for me as much as I would have hoped. I know you said that there weren't any plot holes, but I want to talk about one thing. In the end, Caroline tries to set Mallory up, and so she ties her up, and she's like, I'm going to set you up. And it's going to be believable because she is going to shoot a lethal dose of heroin into Mallory's veins, and it's going to make sense because Mallory is a recovering addict. The thing is, Teddy comes in and he's just like, Mallory doesn't actually die, and Ted comes in and he was like, oh, it's baby powder. It wasn't actually like cocaine or, I don't know shit about drugs. However you melt it, I have no idea. That ain't my thing. Like I said, we don't, but I thought, I looked it up. If you liquefy baby powder and you inject it into your veins, you will die. So I hate that, but so that was a plot hole to me because I'm thinking, even if it was baby powder, she melted it and she injected it into this girl's veins. You can't put baby powder in a vein. So the fact that Mallory just woke up and she was just fine, it was just kind of like, no.
Dollar Tree baby powder and not Johnson & Johnson.
Not Johnson & Johnson. No, if it was Johnson & Johnson, that would have been worse, Jay.
That's what I'm saying. That's why she got the Dollar Tree baby powder.
And, well, I didn't like that. I felt like the twist of Ted wanting to be with Mallory came out of nowhere and made no sense. There was no lead up to that, Jay. For me,
it was just he was a horny man.
He was a horny man. Like there was no, and it was just him really thinking that Mallory had feelings for him. I mean, but she never. They didn't have enough interaction where I would even. They didn't have enough interaction where I would feel like it was believable that he seriously thought, okay, Mallory's going to run away with me. Cause what? Why would you? Plus you're an old man. She's 1921, something like that. So I didn't think that made sense. I did like the twist if they had kidnapped, little Teddy, turned Teddy or Flora into Teddy. I thought that was really, really unique and really, really original. And that was a crazy twist. I told you this. I hated that we didn't talk about the story of Annie. You want to tell about the story of Annie? So the whole time we're thinking Annie, who is the woman who was supposedly murdered in that cottage, is the same as Anya, but they are two different people. Do you want to tell them, Jay?
Nah, you got it. You roll right now.
Okay. So Annie actually never died. That was a myth. Annie never died. What happened is Annie was a white woman and she got pregnant by a black man and she brought shame to her family. They didn't like it. So she ran away to another town with this black man, and her cousin was like ashamed and embarrassed. So he poured pig's blood all over the cottage and told people that she was murdered, and they never found their body. This is the thing. This is the thing about me.
But that's how myths are in small towns, though.
But
urban legend. That's what they make a movie, urban legend.
Why did it have to involve, because she got pregnant by a black man? I just feel like I don't know.
Because that's I don't know.
I'm just sensitive to when people, when authors
racial,
bring up, because I feel like
I guess it makes it more believable that would happen.
Why couldn't she just be pregnant? Why couldn't she just be pregnant?
Why should I be pregnant by a long big black man?
Why by BBC? Why did that have to be? And especially because that did nothing for the story. Him being black, it didn't do anything for the.
It didn't do anything for the story. Look, he jump on in a minute. Hold on, keep going, keep going.
Okay, it didn't do anything for the story for me. Fourthly, did you remember the part where Mallory is supposed to be super religious? I believe in God and the family is atheist. That did nothing. It's just like how I feel about the Capadonna series when Jaquel made Capadonna a Muslim, and yet we don't see nothing to do with the Quran or praying. It was the same way in this book. What was the choice to make her a Christian? She never opens up a Bible. She doesn't go to church until like the very end. And it was just this, I know God is going to deliver me. It was just a weird message. I just feel like it didn't fit with the tone of the book. So those things to me, when the book wrapped up, caused me not to feel as happy about it as I wanted to. I had fun reading it, but when the end came and these things were they just felt unresolved. And I know you said that this is a thriller and a horror to you. I didn't get the horror part of it. Like there was no blood, there was no guts, there was no gore. And again, I said Anya, she was spooky, she was weird, little Teddy was possessed, but she didn't do anything to hurt anybody. So I wasn't as scared as I wanted to be while I was reading it. It didn't feel like a true thriller at certain parts. So that's why I feel like I wasn't as satisfied when the book came to an end, but I still really, really enjoyed it, if that makes sense.
All right, well, let's get into our system, right? 1 through 5 on a bookmark scale, from 1 to not it to all the way to 5, certified classic. For Jason Rekulak's Hidden Pictures, what are you giving this book, Key?
I'm giving it a 3. You know what? I always do this, y'all. I rated the book a 3 out of 5 stars. Every time I get on here with Jay and we be talking about it, I realize how much, I really loved it. So I'm going to give it a 3.5 bookmarks. I really, really like this book. It was my first introduction to Jason Rekulak. Shout out to him. I can't wait to read the other recommended book by Jay. What is it? The Family Wedding or something like that?
You're talking about Last One at the Wedding.
Last One at the Wedding.
Zatowski, the worst father of the year.
Jay recommended that book, so I can't wait to get to that one next. If this is any indication, he writes good. I'm just I'm a bitch about the end of mystery books. If it don't settle, I'm gonna be pissed.
You're gonna hate Jason then once you get to the next one. You're gonna hate Jason. But I gave it a solid 4, so I feel like we in the same same plethora, same scope in between solid read and BookFest approved. So Jason Rekulak, man. Yeah, of course. It's still BookFest approved, right? Solid
BookFest
read.
Approved. Absolutely.
If y'all haven't checked out Jason Rekulak, please check him out. He has Hidden Pictures, and his recent novel as of last year was Last One at the Wedding. And I can't remember the one off the top. He got a new book coming out.
I heard that he had a new one.
He got a new one coming out this year, so definitely check that out, man. Listen, kids, anything you want to say to the people before we get out of here?
Thank y'all so much for engaging. Me, Jay, and Jules, we always read the comments on our videos. We've got some really great recommendations. One of our viewers recommended a series by Takira Allen. Shout out to her. I just wanted to let her know I got that on Kindle Unlimited, so I will be reading that one pretty soon. But thank y'all always for tuning in. Please give us more recommendations. I like mystery and thriller that's like gory. Okay, like gory death, like blood and guts. Think Saw movies. So when y'all watch this video, give us those kind of recommendations. That is my message to the viewers. And thank y'all so much for always tuning in. I love y'all so much.
For real. Thank y'all for the support, man. We appreciate y'all. Until next week, y'all see my co-host jumped in here to say what up to the people.
Yo, man. I'm late to the party, man.
So I'm just y'all gonna see him in our next review.
We happy to have Jules.
Hey, man, I'm the speaker, Keys the reader, and Jules the architect. Till next time, peace.